how was your hiring trend from the July to October last 4 months with respect to your company and with respect to industry also? And what is your projection for hiring of apprentices from November to December?
Thanks, Dhruti. In fact, and good afternoon, everybody who's listening on the webinar today. Firstly, I would like to mention that the uptick in hiring is a strong indication of an onward and upward projection in our economy. Yeah, and with very specific reference to apprentice, okay, there are already a significant number of advantages that the industry has been considering over the past period. The most important of them, yeah, being that the opportunity to observe and build in-house talent throughout the job training period, which ranges today from 6 months to almost 3 years, and this with the option of really absorbing the best of the best. Yeah, there's also a huge amount of flexibility that's there, which wherein we can look at up to from starting from fifth standard above, and also where now in the current scheme of things, where there's a greater commitment, where you're having people under the diploma category, advanced diploma category, as well as in the degree linked program, besides of course the subsidy that we get from the government. Yeah, so I think if you ask me very particularly and very specifically to answer to your question, what's been the trend moving upwards, I think a lot has contributed to that. And apprentice is one very, very significant category of employment that every organization has. And since I represent the manufacturing setup, industry, I'll talk about specifically my industry, where besides recruiting apprentice, which is more cost efficient, I think doubling up of resources and skills scarcity is one of the significant advantages by organizations in the past 6 months have started to increase the augmentation of this resource. Yeah, and today, if you ask me, what does it mean to the organization? Why are companies considering this? And let me try and decode a little bit of this for you. I think number one reason is the elimination of risk that is there. The second is about thinking proactively about new and alternative models. And I think this entire pandemic situation has really redefined certain traditional methods of employment. I'm not saying that this did not exist before, but it has reinforced that belief that this is a very, very good and an alternative component of employment that can be incorporated in your entire work stream. Yeah, and therefore the need to augment and increase the number of resources, and of course look at being more and more innovative in what you currently do. I'm of the opinion that every industry must leverage of this model, and we ourselves have been we of course are in the growth phase of our company because we newly established our factory in Sanand. And we've been leveraging this model to a very, very large extent because we truly believe that this is a model that can work in various types of environment. In a factory environment like ours, for example, in the assembly line where people have to work on site, where specifically need to work on site. For example, if you look at it from an office-based jobs where certain functions like purchase, finance, maybe a hybrid kind of work model, which is possible. There is also an opportunity where apprentices are getting deployed in customer facing roles, like for example sales and retail. Now that things are opening up, that was this entire period has been an opportunity to train these apprentices and deploy them as soon as the economy is moving back. So if you ask me, Dhruti, I think it's actually been a movement onward and upward, and I think this trend will continue to be there because if you ask me, there are significant advantages, and I just illustrated a few to make a point, and I'm sure all those who are familiar or who've been hiring apprentices have been experiencing these advantages. That are there. There are of course certain watch out signals, but I think if it's well managed by the industry, I think it can become a very, very strong model of employment, not only today, but also a strong model of building talent for the future over a period of time.
Well, so far, recruitment is concerned compared to last financial year, I mean, first half of this financial year, and then since past 5-4 months. Yes, see, we are in the industry which is completely in the expansion mode right now. You must have heard about that, Kataria, as I'm representing Kataria Group. So Kataria Group is a very big group. Currently, we are having 6,600 employees on board, and I'm managing group of companies. Other than automobile, we have our presence in BFSI. As I mentioned earlier, that we have our insurance broking firm, refinance firm. Other than that, we are having presence into logistics. We are having presence into renewable energy, infrastructure, and we are recently coming up with a plan for vehicle recycling. So we are into expansion mode. So far, automobile industry itself is concerned, we are coming up with a couple of, 4-5 more workshops and 4-5 more brand outlets. So 10 number of outlets. Other than that, as I mentioned, that we are coming up with the recycling plant. So there also will be hiring a lot of people. As you know that, as Outlook also have mentioned, first number which is actually having more number of apprentices, the industry is engineering, and after engineering, the second number is automobile, ancillaries, and retail. So we are into automobile, retail, as well as the automobile industry itself, so that we are having the highest number of apprentices. As I also have mentioned earlier that 90, we are the number one Gujarat company which is having highest number of apprentices. So total number of apprentices which we have is more than 900, and in couple of months I have hired almost 20% of recruitment compared to first 5 months of this year. So this is how we have increased good number of employees, and 20% apprentices have been increased.
I still would like to go back to the previous year also, like 2020, because as you are aware that like March we started off with the lockdown, and as in Krishna Diagnostics, we are a chain of diagnostics in both radiology and pathology, and of course the molecular biology. So when the lockdown started, even as you know, most of the healthcare industries, but even the biggest corporate hospitals also, for that extent, for in the month of April and May, they completely were in a confused state, because what to do then, because the most of the hospitals started admitting the COVID patients somewhere by June, July onward. They started admitting the patients. So I personally know that there are a couple of hospitals, even the biggest corporate hospitals, in one day, one of the hospitals, 70 of these manager plus category employees have been relieved on the last 31st of May, I'm saying. Okay, without extending any further notice period, because the situation is uncertain. It's in a 2020 I'm talking about. So wherein from a diagnostic background, I'm saying Krishna Diagnostics, we did not settle down, thinking that, we wanted to come back strongly. One side, our radiology business took a real hit, radiology, because the patient coming to the OPD has stopped almost. So that's where our chairman took a stand that we need to start the COVID testing now. So the requirement was the setting up of molecular lab. And we had such a dynamic team wherein during the peak lockdown period, within 3 months, that is from May to August, May, June, July, and I'm saying, or first week of August, we could able to set 8 molecular biology labs across the country, like in Pune, and in Coimbatore, then one in Nashik, then one in Ahmednagar, then 2 in Mumbai, 1 in Rajasthan, 1 in Assam. 8 labs we have set up, and the HR has done a fantastic job by onboarding 812 staff, right from May 15th to August 12th. 812 staff we could able to onboard. And that too, it was a really Herculean task, because every staff we had to speak to them that you will be assigned with the COVID responsibility, and they will be working in a lab where the COVID samples are getting processed. So that was a biggest challenge, because when we finished off all our quota of 20,000 emailing in Naukri portal. Okay. We finished off that quota also, and plus almost nearly 5,000 SMS messages were sent, but still we could able to get some candidates. And successfully we onboarded 8 and 12, but later we started, what do you say, tip, as the wave started, the intensity started coming down, then we slowed down the recruitments, also started existing with the existing employees. And again, like Jan to June, if you ask me, we could be able to manage with the same number of staffs. But now again, our hiring is going up because of the new projects, wherein we are going to come up with another 24 centers, radiology centers, and another 31 laboratory setups, plus another 6 radiology centers in Mumbai. So that's where our hiring might go by another 1,200 employees in next 6 months.